Chicken and beer diplomacy between China and South Korea has been cancelled. Chinese big beer brands are huddling together for fear of the craft beer market. We've got a map of the world's most popular beers, and apparently the Belgians are working on super yeast and piss beer. Welcome to World Beer News! I'm your host, Nitch, and I'm drinking this beer over here. It's made in France. You can't get any of it. So this is what the beer world looks like. Yeah. That's the map of the world in beer according to each country's favorite beer. It was created by VinePair, and favorite isn't the right word. They say that they got their information from Euromonitor and Consumer Records. Sadly, the map does not include Scotland, which is interesting. The Economist points out an interesting point, though, that one of the most interesting aspects of the map is that there's little overlap between countries, despite many of the beers in the map being produced by multinational companies. As you may notice, all these beers mostly suck. So show it to your friends and tell them to avoid any of these beers while they're traveling. If it wasn't for the beer, I wouldn't be here. Now, the Belgians are getting, Bill Nye with beer this week with two really interesting developments. So bioengineers in Belgium claim, they have, invented a machine that purifies urine into drinkable water, and then it leaves a fertilizer byproduct, and the water produced, then they're gonna make beer with it in the process of doing it. University of Ghent scientists have University of Ghent scientists see potential in your piss. From sewer to brewer. More specifically, the piss of art lovers. Recently, the team deployed one of its distillers in a 10-day music and theater festival in central Ghent under the slogan #P for Science. That's proper hashtag use, in case you guys don't know how to use a hashtag. That's funny. Where the product was actually a great success. They recycled over 1,000 liters of water from the urine collectors, and the water was reproduced, filtered out, and then they're going to be making Belgian beer with it. Also, it's a solar-powered process. The urine is heated in a tank before passing through some filtration membranes that separate the water from nutrients, things like potassium and nitrogen and phosphorus, which makes your pee that lovely smell. The system requires no electricity, and it's apparently quite adaptable. So excited, aren't you? Yeah, your kids finally have a purpose. Like, no, Timmy, pee in the bucket so mommy can make that beautiful beer that helps her, sustain life. The second bit of news is longer, and I suggest that you go check out the full article at nature.com. It's in its entirety because it's really beautiful. There's even a great audio segment that you can listen to. Links to everything we're talking about are below. You can just click the links down there. I would suggest go and check out all my sources. They're very important to me, and I really appreciate them. Also, if at any point you find something that you feel is beneficial to the beer and brewing community, please drop me an email directly at nitch@tastingnitch.com, and I'll see about getting it up on the show. So, get this. This guy wants to build the perfect yeast. Kevin Vesterpen is being watched avidly by brewers around the world. Him and his team do groundbreaking work with chemical and genetic basis of beer flavors. They do a lot of analysis of current beer flavors, and then are trying to build yeast that can evolve into different things. But admittedly, we use a lot of the same yeast around the world. The yeast that we use is not changed that much. So they're into breeding yeast strains that generate unique flavors, and they're currently on a mission to make a yeast strain that puts out a chocolate flavor, which they said they haven't been able to do. You always want to know what's in Kevin's lab, says Peter Bocart, the brewmaster in New Belgium, which you may be familiar with. He says, people are watching what he does. So we should probably keep an eye on him as well, because I want chocolate yeast and I want yeast that does other things, right? Cool. So if progressing craft beer culture isn't your thing, perhaps history is. Thank you to everyone who sent me this piece For morning beer, last week we talked about how I'm looking for a more steady job. And although I appreciate all of you thinking that I qualify, that I can just qualify for anything, I can't really say that I have proof that I write for like a scholarly audience. But maybe you do. So funded by the Brewers Association, the Museum of American History, the Smithsonian, is looking for someone who's interested in research, documentation, and collecting American brewing history. Seems like a nice gig. I don't know. It's not really me. The part I am okay with though is that they ask for the candidate to be open to traveling for work, which I'm totally down for that. This may come as a surprise to you, but Asahi and Kirin, the breweries, are considered to be arch nemesis. They're major adversaries. And now they're collaborating on a project to transport their beer together. In an article by Nike.com, it's Japanese, the beer market in Japan is in a steady decline, which has resulted in a race to the bottom price war, which in turn has necessitated the cooperation between Asahi and Kirin. Remember last week we talked about the battle for free or non-alcoholic beer? It seems that beer itself isn't popular among young Japanese people. Major consumers of the beer from the 90s are now aging and no longer drinking as much. They also point to competitive pressure from AB InBev, which seems to be a major instigator in the race to the price bottom. It's causing the Japanese domestic producers to do this power struggle thing. The thing is, there seems to be like a little bit of irony here. If mega conglomerates like AB InBev are seen as hurting the market, I'm not sure how the cooperation between two big macro breweries like Asahi and Kirin is an antidote to this. They claim that the cooperation will allow them to do more interesting things and simply not just compete on price. But is that really going to be the case? I don't know. If China is an example, the answer is no. So crafty beer brands are taking over the market share in China as the total volume of beer consumed is falling. So data shown in 2015, China's beer industry is at its lowest since the past 5 years, and in part to a surge in imported beer. AB InBev is now releasing their craft beer into the market. So Goose Island IPA and 312 are taking on by trend storm. There seems to be nothing that the Chinese beer barons can do to stop this movement. For example, St. Tao Brewery last year launched the whole wheat white beer. But its effect was extremely unsatisfactory and it's been removed from the market. The world's largest selling beer, snow beer, right? We know this. They're also trying to get onto this craft shift. And according to industry sources, Snow just launched a beer called Facebook for their high-end line. Even this has had a low market response, and I tried really hard to find a photo or more information about this Facebook beer, but I'm dealing with translations which were kind of confusing. So if any of you speak Chinese, you'll look at that article and let me know if you can find Snow Beer's Facebook beer. Like, is that even legal? Basically, China's current beer market is America in the 1990s. But what has never happened in the States is an official denial of a bilateral economic engagement. That's what China called it. We would call it like Canada invited us to a beer festival. Yeah, so get this. Officials from a city in South Korea have been asked not to attend one of Asia's biggest beer festivals, as the Chinese city that stages the event also said that they're going to cancel their official's trip to South Korea for its fried chicken and beer festival. Huh? Yeah, Chengdu has held a beer festival for 25 years, and they usually have an attendance of about 10 million people. And Daegu in South Korea has a festival they started in 2013, and it's a celebration of fried chicken and beer. So these events, that event attracts about 1 million people. So the economical importance of these events is enough for the cities to want to talk about it, but why would they cancel such a delicious exchange of beer diplomacy? What? So apparently the cancellations have been developed following a diplomatic outcry from Beijing over Seoul's decision to deploy a U.S. anti-missile defense system to counter threats from North Korea. The announcement by South Korea and the United States earlier this month that a thermal high-altitude area defense unit, that's what they call it, would be set up has drawn protests from Beijing that it would destabilize regional security. No one really knows why. But apparently now it seems that the diplomatic fallout has impacted local level beer escapades. Poor city officials. When asked by telegraph.co.uk why the Chinese state declined to exchange event invites, they were quoted saying, "We have called Daegu city government and told them we will not be sending any officials for fried chicken and beer." So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Beer plays a bigger part in global news than one may suppose. That's all for me. If you've missed news from past weeks, go ahead and check those out. There are probably things in there that you didn't even know were going on. I'll be back next Thursday with other updates. But in the meantime, check out what this Chinese guy found in a beer that he left sitting overnight. Huh? Thank you. Merci. Au revoir.
我靠！倒出来吧！呀，我的天啊！啊，太可怕了！真的太可怕了！